Great to have you all here today for exploring our life calling. The life calling is the bridge between who we are as individuals and who we are as spirit, who we are as sort of nature, who we are as unity consciousness, who we are as much, much more than ourselves. And the life calling acts as a compass for our lives, and it applies equally in your professional life, giving your gift to the world, in your life of intimacy, friendship, community, and also in your relationship with yourself. So in the three marriages, the marriage with yourself, the marriage of love, and the marriage of giving your gift to the world, the marriage of your work. There's so much evidence around the importance of life calling and purpose. People who have a sense of purpose in life live longer, have a better immune system, and that is powerful, that, isn't it? Perform better, and it also has an impact on all areas of their life, including health, longevity, emotional self-regulation, social engagement, happiness. And this comes from a summary of research in the Frontiers Psychology magazine, Life Crafting as a Way to Find Purpose and Meaning in Life. My life calling is helping people blossom. It's great to have a life calling that's very short, because then you can say it, you can sort of look into the camera and say, my life calling is helping people blossom, but with presence and with I've got a little bit of humor here, but with presence and power. And one of the powerful things about life calling is it's not only your greatest aspiration, your greatest interest, it's also connected to your greatest wound as well. So many of you know, because you've heard me say this before, that my mother had post-traumatic stress, my father was alcoholic and went bankrupt, my twin brother became a heroin addict. I could have gone a similar direction to my twin brother, but so for me, helping people blossom, starting with myself, is really an important, crucial thing. And all life callings are connected both with your greatest aspiration, but it's also connected with how you've transformed your wound, what it is that you've done to transform your individual wound. Very often in life calling workshops, I don't mention the second part of it, the way it's connected with your wound, but I am today, because actually it's one of for me, the really powerful pieces of evidence around life calling, which is that it's really deeply rooted. It's not some Californian newfangled thing. It's something that's really deeply rooted in our psyche. So life calling has a number of different qualities to it. And they include, it's a statement of what you want. So it's what you want rather than what you don't want. So it's not ending torture, but it's creating peace, for example. It's a direction, not a goal. It's not something that you can ever achieve. On the last day of your life, you'll still be saying, oh, and today I want to fully express my life calling. Perhaps you won't be saying that. It's not a thing to be anxious about. But on the last day of your life, you'll still be exploring how you can express your life calling more fully. It's not a job description, it's the why of a job description. So people often say, oh, I know my calling, and then they tell you a job description. But actually, it's really helpful having a life calling, like mine, helping people blossom, because it means I can be an executive coach, I can run the Life Talent Grow program and personal evolution programs, which of course is the thing that's closest at the moment to my sense of life calling. I could be a school teacher helping people blossom, or working in the university. I could be a counselor. I could be a mentor. There are many, many different roles. And so you're not just tied to a single job description. It's very, very helpful. And then also when you retire, you may want to move from one job description to the next, so that, I'm not, I'm 66. I don't want to retire. I may have to go part-time, when I'm 80 or something, but we'll see about that. But for example, my life calling would be fulfilled as a volunteer. For example, in the chaplaincy at the Royal Free Hospital, I've already done some of that. There are many places where I can help people blossom, both in a paid capacity and also in an unpaid capacity. And this really important part of it is that it applies equally to yourself and other people. So it's, would you go and see a dentist who'd never had anybody drill in their mouth? You wouldn't, would you? Or would you see a psychotherapist who said, I'm here to heal people, but I'm perfectly sorted out myself? That's sort of very unhealthy. So what makes us so congruent, what makes a person who is following their life calling so congruent and so powerful, is that they've really explored it for themselves. They're really expert on it from their own personal point of view. And that gives them charisma, it gives them credibility. They're not just intellectualizing, they're not just theorizing. It's coming from the depth of their own being. But also, it can also sometimes happen the other way around, that you get someone who's, maybe they've got mental health issues, difficult stuff going on in their life, and their life calling, is about helping people heal or something like that. And they say, well, I can't imagine being, what job can I do? And I say, well, maybe you can become a psychotherapist. They say, how can I be? I'm a psychotherapist. I'm so messed up. So there's a job, there's the life calling and there's the potential jobs. And they say, so, well, I can't be a psychotherapist. I'm so messed up. I say, well, go to psychotherapy for 10 years and then you'll be ready to offer it to other people. Sometimes you really need to apply the life calling to yourself for a good period of time before you can offer it to anyone else. But actually, even quite a short way down the road, you'll be able to start to offer it to other people. I mean, for example, often people go and train at counseling or psychotherapy training schools because they're fucked up, to use a technical term. And the schools know that. And then they either insist that you're in therapy from the beginning of your training, or they say, well, you don't have to be in therapy at the beginning of the training, but halfway through the first term, you'll find you'll want to be. They're going to push you into your stuff. And again, I think this is really powerful. It applies, to this relationship with myself. I am helping myself blossom. I work with that every day. It's why I'm not an alcoholic. It's why I'm not, all sorts of things could have happened to me. It's why I'm doing really well in my life, because I apply it to myself. I'm interested in people. The people that I socialize with and my intimate friends are all people who are really interested in growing and blossoming. I can't talk about football. Well, I can for about 5 minutes. I can't really talk about the stock market. I'm not very interested in it. A lot of the things that people want to talk about are not of much interest to me. I want people who, where we can have deep, intimate conversation and talk about how I'm blossoming, how you're blossoming. Those are the sorts of people I want to spend time with. I have all sorts of really interesting friends because of that. A long time ago, a friend of mine said, I've got a lodger. She's only 20. She's Muslim, she's gay, and she's really having a problem working out how, Islam and being lesbian can fit together. And will you come and talk to us? I went and had lunch with her. And basically I said, what men say God thinks isn't necessarily what God thinks. Maybe you should have a chat directly with God and find out what God thinks. And so then we became friends. Then later on, she rented a room in my house. I had lots of fun experiences with her and a gang of women going to lots of lesbian nightclubs. It was really a fun time. And she became very successful in her career. And I've just been talking to her recently. She's just got a fantastic job offer. And I've been talking to her, just in a friendship capacity about that opportunity. And I've known her for 30 years. So when you know your life calling, you start to attract people who are really interesting for you, and you are really interesting for them. And of course, even, for much of a person's life, they need to work. And, if you spend 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day at work, really do something that you love, do what you love. And the research around work shows that there are 3 reasons people work. The first reason is because they want to earn the money so that they can spend it outside work. They don't feel any particular value from their work, but they're spending the money outside work. The second reason is ambition, that they want to be the top of the tree. They want to be the CFO or, the chief executive, or, they have an ambition that they want to fulfill. And it's about status, and it may be about wealth as well. And then the third reason is because it's what you absolutely love. And those people said to the researchers, don't tell, several people, quite commonly it was said to the researchers, don't tell my boss, but I would do this job even if I wasn't paid. Now that is a sort of job that you want. And the best companies try and fit people or help people get roles within those companies that fit their life calling. And they use, very often they will use the tools around strengths, which is actually the talk we're going to do in a couple of weeks' time, because the combination of your life calling and your strength is what makes you unique. But HR people would help people find something that plays to their strengths and plays to their life calling. And, this gives us meaning in life. Viktor Frankl's 3 forms of meaning in life apply to those 3 marriages. Meaning through I face the human condition, which is my relationship with myself, meaning through love, and meaning through how I give my gift to the world. And there's something very, very gratifying about giving your particular gift to the world. In the face of all the onslaught of difficulty, the difficulty of life and the meaningless of so much of human behavior, and, the horror that we have in the world, and all of these things, to know that you are giving something useful and valuable to the world, it's such a helpful thing. So any questions before, well, let me just stop sharing, before we go into doing a demonstration on the topic? Any questions? Did you wave your hand, Marina?
Yeah, just a quick one. And I don't know if this is the right time, but there was something you said about having deep, intimate conversations with people and your friends.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I find people that haven't done any personal development, you can't always get there. And, I don't want to put it on them. Sorry, this is just a question.
No, it's a good question. But basically, only hang out with people who've got a life calling similar to you. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit. But, once, if you have a calling around personal evolution, the people you want to hang out with are people who are interested in personal evolution. It's like, there are the people that there's your family. And because of the way that, society moves so fast, we often end up moving away from our families, sort of spiritually and intellectually, which isn't necessarily a good thing. I'm not saying, I think we've gone too far that way towards the nuclear family, but very often your family don't get you.
No, that's right.
And then the people that you went to school and university may not get you. I went to a public school. Most of them are army officers or bankers or, people with large country estates. Most of those people don't get me. Actually, I bumped into someone who was, I'd been to school with, and he was the chief financial officer of a big FTSE 100 company. But he looked about 20 years older than me. It was really quite shocking how grey he looked. He'd made all this money. He had a flat in Regent's Park, one of those big white buildings. But he just, it was sort of like, and we'd been friends at school. We had nothing in common. We went and had dinner. We had absolutely nothing in common at all. So one of the things that I think we all have to do in our lives, particularly if you're involved in personal evolution, personal development, is you have to say, where do I find the people who see me, who get me, who say yes to me, who understand me, who want the sort of intimacy that I want? And where will I find those people, and go and recruit that circle of people? And that's why places like the Skiros Center, like personal development ongoing groups, like conferences, like workshops and training programs are such great places. People get friends for life from those places. I used to drink a lot and have parties, quite drunken, fun drunken parties, but I stopped liking that. And in fact, my parties now, nobody drinks at my parties, but we still, because we're also tantric's not a bit too much of a big word, but we're also loved up. We're all dancers. Most of my friends are dancers, so they can dance madly without consuming vast quantity of alcohol, you know. So it's like, find the people that ring your bell, and you have to go and actively look for them. And
yeah, I think, Julian, as well, it's changed a bit. It's all right, this is really helpful. It's changed a bit since COVID, because you were naturally, you know, with clients and friends up in London and stuff. And then also when you're approaching retirement. So I still love the idea, so I'm still percolating on this, of hanging out with people similar to you. And it changes, doesn't it, when you start moving towards retirement and COVID. So some people go, some people, you know, new people come in. This group, I've made some friends, you know, or contacts. So
that's good. No, I think the people who've invested so much of their lives in their work life may have a difficulty, a transition, but yeah. I don't call it retirement. I call it refreshment. You know, it's like, if you're lucky, you know, I mean, not everybody is, but if you're lucky that you've got enough of a pension, you can more or less live, you know, but you've got enough of it, whatever, then you can do whatever the hell you want. So it's like, they're now really, they talk about job crafting and life crafting. But it's like crafting your life after retirement. Really go, and the best years of your life can be once you've got to 60. Then you know who you are. You're not beholden to anybody. You can tell your children to bugger off if they try and tell you what to do. You can do whatever you want. And so then that's a time to say, maybe, do I want to hang out with people from the city? You know, Marina's coach and trainer. You know, what sort of people do I want to where do they hang out? And maybe I don't want to, I don't go to, rich people, to dinner parties with rich people who've made a lot of money in business. It doesn't interest me. I go to, I hang out with people, actors, dancers, therapists, people who haven't got that much money, but are having a really good time, doing slightly wild things like, climbing over the fence and swimming in Hampstead ponds at night, exciting things like that. So it's like, what rings your bell? And then but we have to be proactive about it. And I think once you have a sense of life calling, you know what you want to be proactive about. You know what you need to be proactive about. And that's why it's so important to have a life calling. Great to have you here, Linda. Great to have you here, Linda. Any other questions? Marina got me talking a lot on the first one. Any other questions from anyone else before we go into the exercise? Celia, you've got to unmute yourself.
Sorry to sort of, I find that really energizing for me personally, and thank goodness I've come tonight, because I wasn't really that sure about coming, but I've now sort of stopped working formally, and I'm sort of at a crisis point thinking, well, what do I do, and how can I compete with all this? I mean, I used to be a social worker and I did all sorts and saw so much, and I look back now and I often remember the children I dealt with and think, oh gosh, how can I meet with that kind of quality of experience? And even people who are in dire situations, I think, thank heavens I met them, because they gave me so much of themselves, their vulnerability. And,
absolutely.
And I think, where do I go from here? Because the other problem is, as I've got older, I haven't got as much patience. I mean, I'm prepared to go back and learn, but, I just don't quite know where to take that energy that I used to have. And I think I was pretty good at what I did, actually.
You were a social worker?
I was a social worker, yeah.
And how long have you been retired for?
About a year, because then I went into a bit of community, local politics, and I was pretty good at that as well. I'm bragging here now, but you've done a bit too, so that's okay.
Bragging's good. We need to talk up. The Brits are not good at it. We need to talk up what we're good at. So a year, you're in a massive transition. You're probably working very, very hard as a social worker. The thing to do is to have this really positive view of the future. The best years of your life are yet to come. I mean, I always say to people, 60 is the new 40. It's sort of like that. 70 is the new 50. It's like we've got better health. Touch wood. Generally as a population, we have better health than we've ever had before. We know about things that, my parents didn't take exercise,
Yeah.
So touch wood, if we're lucky, we've got quite a long time ahead of us. Let's really go out and have fun. And the question is, what do you want to do? And I really empathize with you about the people that you met through their suffering and the quality of contact. I always used to think I was a bit weird because I did this volunteer work in the chaplaincy at the Royal Free Hospital in London, where we were looking after people from spiritual traditions, but also non-spiritual people too. And I would have to go around the ward, and I'd go into every ward and I'd make a little speech. We're here to listen to people either from spiritual traditions or people who have no spirituality at all. And most people would be very English to say, thank you, but no, thank you, politely. But once in every 30 beds, it was something like that, either the person would say, I want to talk, or someone would say, talk to him, he's really upset, or, talk to her. And then I'd go and talk to them, and I'd get the whole of some tragic life story sometimes. And very often health condition that had no positive outcome. Very often with our friends, they get ill, but there's some way through. I'd be talking to people where there was no way through. Really awful stories, like a man who'd been the carer for his wife. I can't remember what happened to her. He'd got ill, and the council decided that once he left hospital, they were going to be in different care homes, but also, people who were never going to see their families again. But I would listen. I didn't do much more than listen and hold people's hands, which actually in a hospital, you're not meant to hold hands, but stuff that, And we'd get really, that open-hearted connection would be very, very beautiful. And they would feel really a lot better about themselves just through being able to share it without anybody telling them to feel better. And I would walk it out of there on cloud 9, feeling quite elated, despite having heard this horrible thing. So that's my sort of kink, if you like. So that's what I need to do. I came from a family background where nobody expressed any emotion at all. So as long as somebody's not shouting at me, I'm pretty happy. I'd like to hear the deep, dark stories. And maybe you're the same. And so it's like, well, where can I go where people will share this deep stuff? Paul.
Yeah, I retired.
But let me hold you for a second, Paul, for a second. Just to say to you that there's a journey that you're on, Celia, which may take a period of time. And there's a book, I can't think what it's called, but quite a lot of the research on changing career says that, that you can't sit down with a piece of paper and plan it. You try something out and then that works, and then you try this out and that doesn't work and this works, and then you bump into someone and then you talk to someone that you didn't know that you'd meet, and somehow by some process of sort of accident, synchronicity, you end up where you need to be. It's not always a planned process, but what you have to do is get out the door and have a vision, that there's something. So Celia, there's a space in the world that is waiting for you to fill that space. The world has a hole in it that's waiting for your particular gifts at this time in your life.
Oh, thank you. That's lovely. Thanks.
Great. Paul.
Well, I'm somewhat older than most people here, and my journey, I've been on it because I retired in 2013, admittedly on good pensions, but I volunteered soon, and ever since I've been working 1 day a week with Age Concern Hampshire. And Celia, I have been very moved and touched by the conversations I've had with carers or elderly people, and on the telephone. I can come across, I really do establish almost an emotional rapport with people, and that's deeply appreciated. And I come away deeply rewarded, but authentically a sense that I've made a difference to that person, and I've received my own benefit and satisfaction from that rewarding sharing. And I can't underestimate the significance of that. cumulatively.
No, thanks, Paul. Yeah, thank you. So there's opportunity for all of us at whatever stage of life. Actually, one of the interesting things about the life calling research is that it increases longevity, but this is the punchline, at whatever stage in life you'll find your sense of purpose. And they did research with people in old people's homes, and then measured the difference in lifespan of the ones who had a sense of purpose and the ones who didn't, and the ones who had a sense of purpose lived longer. So there's just lots of interesting stuff here that's really helpful as a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy. We can use this as a self-fulfilling prophecy. If I think that I can be productive until I'm 80, that increases the chance that I can be productive till I'm 80. And actually, I probably need to slide that, since I'm only 16 years away from 80, I slide that forward and say, oh, I can be productive till I'm 100. So it's sort of, and what did John Lilly say? What one believes to be true either is true or becomes true within limits to be determined experientially or experimentally. These limits are beliefs to be transcended. In the province of the mind, there are no limits. So, it's sort of creating positive, self-reinforcing, self-fulfilling prophecies. The top sports coaches who coach Olympic athletes say that you can never achieve anything that you don't believe you can achieve. So, if you want to win a gold at the Olympics, you have to have a goal to win a gold at the Olympics. You have to have that as a goal. You have to have a training plan that will get you to world record speed or level outside of the Olympic arena, because of the pressure of the Olympic arena means that may interfere with your performance. Therefore, you need to achieve the standard that you want to achieve outside of the arena to have a chance of achieving it in the arena. And you can't achieve more than you believe you can achieve. And so therefore, that's working with those sort of positive self-fulfilling prophecies is really helpful. So there was one other thing I was going to say, and I can't think what it was now. Any other questions? I'd like to get into doing the exercise with you pretty soon, but are there any other questions before we get there? Georgianne, can you move your camera a bit so we can see your face? If that's possible.
It's a little bit difficult because I've hurt my... yeah.
Well, if you can't, don't worry about it. But
yeah.
As you know, folks, for most of you who come on these things, I try to make these sessions as personal and as close as possible to being like an in-person session. And so, keeping your cameras on and all of that stuff is really, really supportive and helpful to the group. So what I'm going to do in terms of helping you find your, explore your life callings is use the approach that I use nowadays in a workshop setting takes about a day. But there was an earlier version, the approach that I used in the 80s, that I think one could do as a sort of with a whole group of people at the same time. Because normally what I would do is I would demonstrate with one person, help them find their life calling, and then give, and everybody would be watching me do that demonstration and then follow the handout. There's a structured process, and then they'd go away in groups of 3 and they'd work with each other for 20 minutes per round. Then we'd come back and we'd debrief and I'd do another demo, and then they'd go back to groups of 3 again. And then by the end of that, people would have a pretty clear life calling. So we don't have the time to do it that way, but let's see how far we can get doing it in a different way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one person as a prompt for me, because as like a demo, but like a sort of psychotherapy or healing demo or whatever, except that I want everybody else to do it with me, to do it with us at the same time. So I'm going to be talking to one person, but but everybody will be doing the exercise at the same time. It's just that I think in the conversation with that person, there may be things that I'll say that will be useful to everybody, because I'm doing it live rather than just giving you the instructions. So who would like to be the person who gets facilitated to find their life calling?
I will be willing to be the one.
Linda, the only problem is that you've missed the first part of the session. So
Oh, sorry, because I was in the class just now.
have you come across my work before? Have you worked with me before? I don't.
Yes.
Where have you worked with me?
I think I worked with you last time in Guangzhou, like you were.
Did you come to the course in Guangzhou?
Yes.
Which course did you do in Guangzhou?
Life talent.
Oh well, but surely you've got your you have your life calling, don't you?
Yeah, but at that time I was not doing the life calling very seriously.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see.
Okay.
How many days did you do with me in Guangzhou, Linda?
5 or 6 days.
5 or 6 days. So you did level 1, yeah.
Yeah.
And where are you now?
I'm currently in Hong Kong because I just traveled from London to Hong Kong like 3 days ago.
Right. It must be
Yes.
quite late with you. It must be midnight or something.
But it's fine.
Okay, great. Well, let's see.
Yeah.
So everybody if you got my email in advance of the session, which hopefully you did, you've got some, I've got 3 bits of paper here. And have you got some pen and paper as well, Linda?
Yes.
Great. I've suggested 3 bits of paper because we're going to do the same process 3 times, and then we're going to
Okay.
compare the 3 pieces of paper and see what we have.
Yes.
Great. So that's good. What I'm going to do is I'm just thinking about, I think I won't spotlight you because I want to keep my eyes on everybody else. I think I'll rather than spotlight us, because I want to remind myself that we're all doing this together. So at the bottom of one of your pieces of paper, Linda and everybody, I'll just give you a context for this. We're going to write down something that you're passionate about doing. And I don't mean passionate like, oh, I'm passionate about chocolate, unless you're really passionate about making chocolate, or I'm passionate about something that you really love doing. And we're going to over on each piece of paper, we're going to pick 3 different examples. And so you could have something in your personal life, something in your professional life, something somewhere else. And they can be random. It doesn't really matter. We're not too worried about where it is that you start. So at the bottom of the first piece of paper, you write down something that you're passionate about. And it could be, for example, that, one of the questions that we use for these exercises is, is there some aspect of your job that you're passionate about, or that you have been, or is there some aspect of your life, or is there something that you just love doing in your personal life? So
okay.
Go on.
I thought you were asking me directly.
I'm talking to everybody, but
okay.
But I will come to you in a second. And another way of saying this is what is it that makes write down something that makes your heart sing. I think those are really nice words. So Linda, what is something that you're passionate about?
I think the first thing that I'm passionate is about finance, like finance related things.
Yeah.
Because I study finance in school.
You don't need to give me. You don't give me any. No need to give me
and
any.
The second thing.
Sorry, can I stop you? Can I stop you?
Okay.
I just want the first one, and you said finance, and so all you need is a phrase like that.
Okay.
Something that you're passionate about. So then the question for everybody, including for Linda, is what's important about that? And so the way I do it is I take a little bit of, I write a little line above the word finance, and then I'm just going to write something just above there. What's important about that? So what's important about finance for you, Linda?
Because I enjoy to evaluate different companies. So every time
Sorry,
when
you enjoy evaluating different, I missed the word.
different companies,
Yeah, you enjoy
Like for-
evaluating.
different companies, and to find out the undervalued companies, and to express my investment ideas.
Okay,
to
that's
express
enough.
my-
I
Okay.
only want a phrase. I only want
Okay.
a single phrase. So everybody's writing down a single phrase above their first item. What's important about that? So I enjoy evaluating different companies. You said looking for investment opportunities. So what's important? So then we ask the same question again. What's important about that? And so then, so Linda, you enjoy evaluating different companies, looking for investment opportunities. What's important about that for you? What's important about that for you?
I think it's probably because I enjoy a life which I'm able to afford the things that I love.
Yeah. A life I can afford.
Yes.
The things I love. Great, beautiful. So hopefully everybody's now got 3 things that you've written. You've got, you know, you can't read my handwriting, which is fine because I write in Egyptian hieroglyphics from the, no, but you've got 3, you know, the first level, the second level, the third level. We're going to keep going up this piece of paper. So what's important about having a life you can afford so that you can buy the things you love, Linda?
So that I can be happy.
Yeah, so that you can be happy. Okay.
Yes.
Great, that's beautiful.
And be comfortable.
Yeah,
and
we
be
just, I would take the first word. It's like, keep
Okay.
it short.
Mhm.
So just everybody let me know when you've written the fourth level. Great. So Linda, so so I'm going to change the words now. You can either ask yourself what's important about that.
Okay.
Or you can ask yourself, what does that give you? Or what does that do for you?
That will give me more confidence and self-recognition.
So more confidence and self-recognition.
Yes.
Great. Great. And everybody else, if you have a question, not a general question, but about what you're writing on the piece of paper, you can just put your hands up and ask me. So there are these. So there are 3 questions really. What's important about this? What does this give you? Or what does this do for you? And remember, we're just keeping the attitude right now of, oh, I'm a mystery that's unfolding. I'm just curious. I'm interested. We don't have to get to any particular outcome. We let go of trying to get to it. Just be curious. We're playing, we're experimenting, we're exploring. So, Linda, what does having more confidence, if you had more confidence and self-recognition, what would that do for you?
Feel more happy.
Yeah.
Yes. Like just like feel like I'm valuable, or that's become more happy.
Okay, so folks, if you're listening, she's already said happy. So sometimes you get a repetition, and basically you ignore it. You ignore the fact, because actually words are superficial. There's a deep structure underneath the words. The deep structure may be different the second time than it was to the first. And in fact, she added those extra words, feel more happy and feel I'm valuable. So, what's important about feeling more happy and feeling more valuable?
So that I can better enjoy the life.
So I can better enjoy the life. And everybody, this is a bit like a sort of interrogation process. You ask this question again and again. And so I just want you to go with me on this and just keep writing down your next level of answer, because we will piece it all together in the end. So Linda, we're doing really well here. You're doing really well, Linda. I am actually going to put you on spotlight for a moment, and myself. Great. So what's so important about having a better life? What does having a better life give you?
So that I can like cherish every moment, to let the people around me be happy as well, and to help more people.
What was it? What the first thing you said was carry something. What was that?
No, cherish every moment.
Oh, cherish every moment. Yeah. And help more people. Yeah, that's really beautiful. I'm just interested, so I'm just gonna keep going a little bit. What does that give you? If you can cherish every moment and help more people, what does that give you?
Make myself more happy.
Make yourself more happy. Okay. So we're circulating again. But let's leave it there. So we're going to do the second sheet, but before we do the second sheet, I'm going to go back to gallery view, see everybody. We're going to do the second sheet on a totally different topic. Any questions from anyone before we do that? Okay. Yeah, go on.
It's more a comment. It's sort of like the old parts integration.
Well, let's not compare it to anything else.
No, sorry, but I mean, yeah. Anyway, I was just.
I'm just taking questions on this process.
Okay, yeah, I was just getting that sensation, and it was very good. I just liked it.
Good. No,
I like the escalation.
Great. So think of something in some other part of your life that you're passionate about. So this is just filling in these 3 pieces of paper is a very interesting process, whatever comes from it. So what is something else that you're passionate about in your life? And so you could take your personal life or your hobbies or your time alone, the marriage with yourself. Everybody write down something. This is on the next piece of paper. So because then we're gonna hold these pieces of paper next to each other and start to compare. So
can you write something like a poet?
Sorry?
Can you write something like a poet?
Yeah, you can, yeah. But it's a job description, but we'll be going above job description. Don't worry about it. A poet's fine. What are you passionate about? I'm passionate about being a poet.
No, not me, somebody else.
No, well, so you have to say is there a poet that you want to make love to or something like that? I mean, it's like, I'm passionate about a poet. What's his name and what's his phone number? Are you passionate about poetry?
His poetry.
Okay, okay. So I'm passionate about the poetry of ...
Yes.
Great. Good to have it clear here. Okay, so what are you passionate about, Linda, this time?
Passionate about helping others. For example, helping others with their coursework, helping others with their interview.
Okay,
interview techniques.
That's enough.
Okay.
Deals with coursework, interview techniques. Great. That's good. Thank you. So everybody, you've got the first level. So, okay, guess what my next question is going to be. What's important about that? So write that next level up. So what's important about that, Linda? What does it do for you? What does it give you?
So that I can find more values about myself.
Great. Find more value in myself. Great, beautiful. Great. And what's important about, what will that do for you, finding more value in yourself?
Become to have more confidence and self-recognition and be more happy.
Yeah. More confidence and self-recognition. Yeah. And what's important about that? Or what does that give you?
Actually, the later ones are similar to the previous.
But you don't need to worry about that.
Okay.
Don't think about it. You don't need to think about that. We're just asking. So you say helping others with their coursework and interview work. You're passionate about that. And what's important about that is it helps you feel more valuable in yourself.
Yes.
And what does that give you? It gives you more confidence and self-recognition. And what does having more confidence and self-recognition give you?
To have a stronger connection with other people by helping others, by helping them.
Yeah. So having stronger connection with other people. Right. So I mean, everybody, you can just, and we're just going up the page as we were last time, sort of like, you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but it's just the same thing. We're going up the page. So Linda, this is really beautiful and really touching, yeah, really good what you're doing. I'm adding myself as a spotlight, so we're here together. Where are you at this moment?
I'm currently in the hotel for my 7-day quarantine.
Oh, you're doing 7-day quarantine in a hotel, and you found a little room to go into.
Yes.
So what does having a stronger connection with other people do for you?
To have more love.
More love. That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. I feel touched. Great. Thank you for doing this. It's beautiful. Yeah. Let me ask you. Yeah. Let me just ask again as an experiment. And so, if you have more love, what will that do for you?
More self-fulfilling.
Yeah, more self-fulfilling. And just for fun, let me ask you, what will having more self-fulfillment do for you?
Then it's like a circle, like be more happy.
Yeah, okay, great.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to the third piece of paper. Is everyone else ready to go to the third piece of paper? Let me just go back to gallery view, unspotlight me, unspotlight Linda. So you may have to go back to gallery view. Any questions before we go to the third piece of paper? We're doing okay. Great. So, Linda, what's a third thing that you're passionate about in your life? Maybe in your life just with yourself. You know, we do one from work, one from friendship, and one from
passionate about being with family and friends.
Okay, passionate about being with family and friends. Great. And so now we're going to go. So, and what does that give you?
So that we can enjoy the time together.
Yeah. enjoy the time together. So everybody, the 3 questions: what's important about that? What does that give you? What does that do for you? What does that achieve for you? That's 4 questions. And so what's important about enjoying the time together?
So that we can share more happy moments.
Share more happy moments. Yeah. Great. And what's important about sharing more happy moments, Linda?
So that we can have a tighter family connection, or like to have a more tightened family bonding, like with family, with friends.
Yeah. Having a tighter family. And what's important about a tighter family bonding?
Wait, I'm writing down my answers.
Okay, great.
What to have more love, like at the same time you have more love, the people that you care, they have more love as well.
To have more love.
Mm-hmm.
And what's important about having more love?
To better enjoy the life.
To better enjoy life. Yeah. And what's important about what does it enjoying life, better enjoying life give you?
To explore more things.
Yeah.
Like
to explore more things. Oh, this is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So what's important about what better enjoying life gives you is that you can explore more things.
Yes.
And so what does exploring more things give you?
To find out more interesting, like to discover more surprises, to discover more fun facts around the world, like just to I don't know how to describe that feeling.
Okay, it's okay. So do everybody notice that that's a loop down? Sometimes it loops down, and if we followed that, if we did another 10 questions, we'd get back above it again. But I think we've got enough here now. So Linda, I'm really sorry. For whatever reason, at the beginning of the call, I didn't recognize you. And of course, you've WhatsApped me recently. We've been in contact, and you were here in a session a couple of weeks ago. I'm sorry, I just missed that. So great to have you here, Linda.
Yeah, thank you.
You're doing really well with this exercise. So yeah, it's great. It's going well. So everybody, you've got your 3 pieces of paper now. And I'm just taking us from spotlight back to gallery view if you need to adjust anything on your camera. So everyone got their 3 pieces of paper. Now, in fact, I should have said this when I sent that email out. It's actually useful to have highlighter pens, but you don't have to have a highlighter pen. I'm now just going to get my highlighter pens. I thought this would be a helpful way to do it. So I'm taking my highlighter pens and I'm putting the 3 pieces of paper. I'm just going to move my camera a little bit. next to each other so that I can see, and so you can all do the same thing, move things so that you can have your 3 pieces of paper next to each other, because we're going to start comparing what's on the 3 different pieces of paper. And so that the first thing I'm going to do is, with my highlighter pens, Linda, is look for things that are common on each of the 3 pieces of paper. So we've got happy is quite reoccurring. It's on, actually it's only on 1. I can only see it on 1. So we've got more confidence and self-recognition on 2. So you're looking between the different pieces of paper.
Okay.
So there's to have more love is another big theme. I'm going to circle that in a different color. Yeah, more happy and valuable is confidence and self-recognition. Cherish life more. So that's another one, which is cherish life more. Enjoy life. Something about connecting with other people here as well. Let me just look at that.
Yes.
Which is very, actually, it's very close to the love one. Right. So, so what we do is basically, you know, whether you've got highlighter pens, you're looking between the 3 sheets and looking for similarities. So with Linda, there's particularly one about more confidence and self-recognition, feeling more happy, feeling valuable, more confidence and self-recognition. So there's quite a strong theme of that. There's quite a strong theme of having more love, or connecting with people.
Yes.
And there's so that's a sort of second theme, and then there's a theme about enjoying life. So for everybody, as you look at your pieces of paper, you know, the only reason for having different highlighter pens would be that you could circle the different classes in a different pen, but you could just do it with a regular pen. What are the different themes? So now, Linda, so let me ask you, Linda, a question, which is, so if 0 is boring and 10 is ecstatic, is wonderful, is amazing, so we've got a scale where 0 is boring. So would you say that which is stronger? So what would you score more confidence and self-recognition as from boring to ecstatic? Is boring and 10 is ecstatic.
10.
10, great.
Maybe 9. Maybe 9.
9, okay, great. And where would you, what would you score having more love, feeling more love, connected with other people? What would you score that?
9.5.
9.5, great. And where would you score, how would you score to cherish life? 0 to 10.
9.
9, okay, great. So if everybody has sort of scored your main areas, what you want to do is you want to make sure there is some variation in the scores. So for example, Linda, she's got 2 9s, but she's got a 9.5, so that's okay. But if she didn't, I'd have her go back and score, you know, well, of the two nines, is one of them a 9.1 or 9.2 or a 9.3. You don't want to have them all. If they're all, you can't have them all as 10, or you can't have them all as the same number. You need to. So if necessary, you do 9.1, 2, 3, 4, or to get a spectrum, because what you're looking for is of the different groups of phrases across the 3 sheets. Is there one that stands out most strongly that we then use next? We're going to then explore with next. And so the one that stands out most strongly is to do with love, Linda.
Well, I would say be happy is the strongest.
Oh, what would you, to be happy is only on one of these. But so happy, what would you score to be happy?
10.
Okay, great. Okay. So you see, yeah, it's a subjective feast rather than an objective feast. So we've got to be happy. So you're really sure that of the one that is most important to you, so is to be happy, and that's more important than confidence and self-recognition, and that's more important than love, and that's more important than cherishing life.
Yes.
Great. Beautiful, beautiful. So, and this isn't the end of the process yet, folks. So, but has everybody got one that has a higher score than the others? Yeah. Anybody not? Actually, let's go to the group. Will everybody read out the one that has the highest score? So we'll start with you, Linda. Which is the one that has the highest score?
Be happy.
To be happy. Then pass it to someone else in the group. Name somebody.
Let me see. Barbara.
So
Okay, satisfied with time on earth.
satisfied with time on earth. Great. And pass it to someone, Barbara.
Georgianne.
I have wholeness and integration.
Great. Pass it to someone.
Oh, sorry, I got Maggie.
You're on mute, Maggie.
Connection with love.
Sorry, say it again.
Connecting with love.
Connecting with love, yeah.
Wendy.
Thank you. I've got I'm caught between two, between feeling good and my best self and feeling more connected. They're both coming out quite high.
What do they come out as?
I'd put them at 9 and a 9 and a little bit.
Which one's the 9 and a little bit?
To feel more connected.
To feel more connected. Okay.
Yeah.
Go with that one. Go with that one. You can always go back. It's an iterative process.
Thank
so
you.
We're going to work with that one. So pass it to someone.
So Paul, I'm passing the baton to you.
Well, I've got a choice between the second sheet. On my second sheet, I gave 10 to fulfillment in mutual care and joy and love, on the basis that sharing multiplies.
No, we're not asking for. We're just asking for one short statement.
That's it. Well, fulfillment in mutual care, sharing, and joy in life.
Great, beautiful, beautiful. Pass it to someone.
Celia.
I think number 1 was positively connected. And
Positively connected. Yeah.
a close second was be myself, accepted and loved.
Yeah. So, but positively connected.
Yeah.
And you see, we're going to come to. It could be to myself and others. It can include some of the, it can include both inner and outer connection. Pass it to someone. Who else?
Good point. Yeah, Marina.
Making the most of my life on this planet.
Great. Pass it to Katie.
Katie.
You're on mute, Katie.
My 2 top ones were loving myself and connecting with people.
So which of those 2 you're going to choose? We're asking for one only.
All right, loving myself.
Okay, great. Marija. You're on mute, Marija. You're on mute, Marija. You have to unmute yourself. We can't hear you. We cannot hear you.
Excuse me, yes. I would say I would score 10, love to myself and to another people, and then enjoy the life. Is
No, we only want the 10. We only want the top one. Which is the top one?
the 10.
Okay.
Enjoy the life is also the 10 for me.
Okay, so then you need to have a scale. So we need, is one of them 10.1, another one 10.2, 10.3, 10.4, which is give them a point score so that one of them comes higher.
Do you mean that I have scored the low score?
One of them needs to have a higher score. So which one will have a higher
The
score?
higher score for me is love to another people and for myself.
Great. Actually, let me just go through that again. So love for other people and
for myself.
Great.
The first is for myself and then another, because this is the most important that I can share them with another.
Yeah.
The love comes from myself.
So read me the two versions again. You said there were two.
The two is enjoy the life.
Yeah. And then the other one is to love myself and to love others.
Yes.
Great, beautiful. So that's the highest one, to love myself and to love others. So I'll remove spotlight, go back to gallery view. So what I want to do now is for you to think about that statement, that top statement. So you're working with one statement. By the way, you can work with one statement and then you wake in the morning and then you discover that you want the other one or you want to do it differently. So you have to work it through to, that will help, that helps deepen the process for you. So what I want you to do now is I just want to show you a slide, which is that we saw before. So so everybody's got a statement of what you want. Oh, yeah, I'm sharing, great. You've got a statement of what you want. And let me just do that. And it's a direction, it's not a fixed goal, so that's good. It's not a job description, although you could imagine a job that would fulfill that description. And this is one that's really important. So it applies equally to yourself and others. So I use a tagline, which is something like, so if we take Linda's one of being happy, it would be helping people be happy. It could be for myself and others. The tagline is for myself and others, or starting with myself. If I say my life calling is helping people blossom, that sounds quite grand, doesn't it? But if I say my life calling is helping people blossom, starting with myself, then suddenly you can feel the humility there. You can feel that it's applied. So those are two good type of taglines, which even if you don't use them, it's good to try them on for size. Helping people be happy, starting with myself or for myself and others. So, and it can apply it to yourself, in your personal life, in your professional life. You can apply it in all of those places. So let me come back to you again, Linda. So do you think your life calling is helping people be happy, starting with myself or for myself and others?
I would choose helping people happy, starting with myself.
Helping people be happy, starting with myself, yeah. So that's, and how does that feel saying that?
It feels pretty, I think the first one feels pretty good because I need to make sure that I feel happy myself so that I have the energy to help people around me and to let them feel happy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things in this work, in the life talent work, is, you know, many people here are counselors and therapists or know people like that. And what if you give yourself away to other people, if you're always giving yourself away to other people, you can end up really dry. If you're only helping other people, you can end up really dry. So this piece about, actually, I need to apply it to myself first is really important, because then I'm full as well. I'm have got, you know, I'm really nourished. So if I am helping people blossom, starting with myself, I'm making sure that I blossom. And then from that fullness in myself, from that nourishment in myself, I then have extra to give to other people. And so that, you know, that helps to deal with this curse of the helping profession. So sometimes in the helping professions, you have people who are trying to save everybody else, but they haven't saved themselves yet. So Linda, do you think your life calling is helping people be happy, starting with myself?
Yes, I think it is.
Okay, great. So that's a very powerful thing.
Yes.
Yeah. How does that feel in your body?
It feels energized and warm.
Yeah, great. Okay.
Yeah.
That feels right from knowing, having talked to you recently. That feels really right. So it really feels like a good and important thing. So let me come back to, because there, you know, there'll be lots of unanswered questions now, and I'm just working out how to help you with these. I may take you into an exercise to ask some more questions, but first I want to hear, how does it sit with you if you say your life calling, starting with myself or for myself and others, if you say that, those top scoring words, how does it land with you? And you could say, I can say, how does it land with you? Is there something missing, or is there something you want to add? So that's the next set of questions. The next questions is there anything, if I say, you know, you say that your top score for myself and others, or I'm starting with myself, and then I say, so is there anything missing, or is there anything I want to add? And we're not trying to make the statement longer, because you want a short statement. So as you ask yourself, is there anything missing? Does anyone want to share that with me? How is it for you? Oh, first, Wendy.
So thank you, Julian. I switched my phrase because when I wrote it down, it didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And the second phrase now slots in on the
Yeah.
tail end of it. So the phrase that's feeling right is that I want to help people be the best self, starting with myself, to help them feel connected.
Helping people be their best self.
Yeah.
Best self. How does it go?
Starting with myself and others, to help them feel connected.
Can I just suggest a change, which is helping people, did you say be their best self? Yeah, helping people be their self, so that they can be connected with others, starting with myself.
It's not with others, it's a connection with the earth.
Oh, with the earth.
Yeah, it's connection with the earth and just the whole energy of the earth, you know, kind of like the avatar tree.
Yeah, so yes, I do. So tell me, say it to me again. I haven't quite got it.
To help people be the best self.
Yeah.
Starting with myself, to help them feel connected.
Great.
It's with the earth, but it's higher than the earth. Earth doesn't give it the right phrase. It's probably more quantum energy, but that sounds ever so pretentious.
No, it's not. These are, by the way, these statements are only for you. They're not to be shared. You could share them with people who are in your tribe, who are in your Sangha, who you're close to, but they're not brand statements. They're not statements to share with professional colleagues, because they're
That won't change my LinkedIn profile then yet.
Yeah, exactly. Great. So
thank you.
Great. Who else? Anything missing? Anything they want to add? Katie?
Well, earlier on I'd got to enable others to help others live, love and laugh. And now I've made a cosmic shift, because I've got to help myself and others live, love and laugh. And that feels a huge relief, because I have been very burnt out and worn out in the recent past. So it seems very simple, but it's very fundamental. And
Absolutely,
I almost feel,
absolutely.
yeah.
The best way to help others live, love and laugh is to be able to live, laugh and love yourself.
Yeah.
The research says for psychotherapists is only if they're embodying it, that's what, it doesn't matter the modality. The question is whether they're embodying it.
Yeah, and I think I was brought up to do lots of service to others without and neglect myself a bit. But I've also done that on my own as well.
You know, so the authentic place is when we're so brimming with good energy that there's plenty for everyone. And so that if you do that self-nourishment, there's plenty for everyone. And you start that way around. Who else? Go on, Georgiana.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused, because I've ended up with these rather sort of abstract things. I mean,
so what's your one single statement?
Well, oneness, wholeness, integration, and transcendence.
What's wrong with that?
Well, everyone's talking about helping, and my helping was further down, but as I got it further up, it came to those. And
I mean, helping is a sort of generic word. Actually, sometimes you may find that I use the word helping a lot because it's quite generic, but it's so
I was
using wholeness, integration, and transcendence. What I mean, but if we just use it as a sort of starting word, is it not helping people feel wholeness, integration, and transcendence, starting with myself? Is it not that?
Yes. I mean, and it felt to me the most important thing in my life. In the end, if I
so that sounds
raise everything up, it didn't sound. Yeah, okay. It just didn't sound very practical.
Well, it's very practical.
Okay, thank you. I just needed reassurance that I was doing it right.
Yeah, I know it is. I mean, so your life calling is helping people with something that's very close to the spiritual. And
yes,
that is true. I know that's true.
It started with laughing.
No, we're not talking about laughing. We're talking about wholeness, integration, and transcendence.
That's where laughing came.
Your life calling is to help people with wholeness, integration, and transcendence, starting with yourself. How does that sound?
I'd say starting with laughing.
Okay, starting with laughing. So your life calling is helping people feel wholeness, integration, and transcendence, starting with laughing.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
That's good. That's fine. There's only one of them, but there's one piece of paper.
You can only have one.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Barbara.
Strange thing happened as I was doing this is that I have nothing about helping anybody.
Great.
And so, it was like, oh. And so I looked at it and I said, well, that's so innate that I would do it anyway. I help.
Yes.
I just do it, that it's not a life calling. It is something else. So then I went to life calling and I noticed what was missing is the beginning of the sentence should be a primary companion and community who connect to the divine and also the unusual.
So your life calling is to be a primary companion.
Is to have or be a primary companion, be in a community, and connect, and that is fulfilled by connecting with the divine and what I call the mystical or the unusual.
So a primary So your life calling is to be a primary companion, to be in
Well,
community, connecting with the divine.
Well, have a primary companion. I'd like to go side by side with somebody and also be in a community.
So that's a little bit, having a primary companion is a little bit of a goal.
All right.
So, I mean, just to be aware that a life calling couldn't be fulfilled without achieving, you don't want to have anything that has to be achieved in a life calling. So, but let me ask you, so if you had a primary companion, what would that achieve for you?
It would just somebody to enjoy the divine and the unusual.
So, what would
enjoying the divine.
Yeah. So if you had a primary companion, what would that give you to enjoy the divine and the unusual? What would that give you?
Some kind of comfort and well-being.
Comfort and well-being. Okay. And if you had comfort and well-being, what would that give you?
The other goal, which is satisfied with being on earth.
We're trying to avoid goals here.
Oh no, that was not a goal. Okay. What would that do?
Yeah, what would it do for you personally if you had comfort and
fulfillment, a feeling of fullness, nourished. That's a good word, nourished.
So do you get that if you have if it's a digital thing, you either have a primary companion or you don't have a primary companion, you may or may not be fulfilled, whereas life calling is a direction rather than a goal or a fixed objective. So it would be more like a life calling statement if you said, my life calling is to be nourished in community and connected with the divine. That would be more, because
isn't the community also a goal?
Could be, but I mean, it could be.
It is. It actually is. I mean, if it's either one person or other people, if I simply say I'm satisfied with connecting with the divine and the unusual,
yeah,
then it's fine. Then it's sort of detached from externals.
So my life calling is to connect with the divine and the unusual.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this just may be my map of the world, but some people, it's difficult to have they don't end up with a primary relationship, or even if they do, the person dies before they do, I mean, there's sort of all sorts of problems with that.
There's that.
It seems to me that if we use the word community in the broader sense, that hopefully all of us will have some sort of social contact, that it's possible for everybody to have some sort of social contact. But I may be wrong. It depends if you mean community as in a live-in community or a sort of institutional community, that's a different thing. But
okay, but community, when I look at, you said something was missing, was an immediate community that's local.
Yes.
That actually is a goal. If I look at the larger community, then I'm meeting my goal by being right here, right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, actually you bring up a really important point, Barbara. So life calling is quite abstract, doesn't have goals. Mm-hmm. But then beneath that, then there's a sort of separate exercise. You say, well, what do to fulfill my life calling, are there some goals? Are there some things I want to do? So it might be to find a community, or it might be, actually, I'm to be nourished in the connection with the divine and the unusual. And I'd love to do that with a partner. And, a goal is to find a partner. Right. So I just sort of technically, it's separate. The goal is separate from the life calling statement. And then
I got that.
And then there was something else that you said, which was, so my life calling, the place where I will feel most strongly nourished in my connection with the divine is in a community. So I look for a community to do that. So those then become two goals. But at the high level, as you say, you're in community right now. We're in community when we visit the shops in our street.
Yeah, And the other thing about it is a little reframe keeps coming in my ears saying, if I'm satisfied with being alone and in a community with people on Zoom and etc., then I'm sort of forfeiting this desire to have more physical connection with community. I'm just saying a little glitchy ran in. I don't know.
No, I mean, please don't misunderstand me. I really support people having goals.
I know. Yeah.
But the goals are different from the life calling itself.
Got it.
The life calling can be fulfilled under any circumstance.
Got it.
You know, if
so what I'm discovering is I've fulfilled my life goal.
Yeah.
My life is living what I just said. So actually that's good discovery.
Yeah. And also hopefully all of us will continue to deepen that connection every moment, you know, so, you know, of every moment of our life. So a life calling can never be, there's always more possible in a life calling. So there's always more nourishment, more connection with the divine, more connection. I mean, unless you're, I mean, it's technically possible because, you know, I'm not a realized being, but I suppose that if one is living, if you're a realized being who's living in oneness all the time, then you may have got to the end of that path, but I can't really comment on that because I haven't, you know. I'm still on the path of experiencing oneness, the oneness of everything all the time, you know.
Oh, it's knowing that I'm on the continuum and it's rolling forward to more connection with the divine. That certainly is very nice.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean all together connected.
Yeah. It's great. So what am I doing?
I don't know.
Just say your life calling again to me.
Me, connect with the divine and the unusual.
Yeah, or nourished, you said. You had the word nourished.
Nourished by my connection with the divine and the unusual.
How does that feel?
Nice.
Yeah, great. Could you imagine spending the rest of your life doing this?
I will.
Yeah, great. That's so beautiful.
Thank you.
I can really feel it in you. Yeah, I can really feel it in you.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Georgianne, it's very similar to yours, Georgianne. And so my suggestion to you, Georgianne, is there's a way of you believing in this, in believing in what you said, which might be closer to the way that Barbara believes in what she said. And one of the things that happens when we find our life callings is, you know, so first thing is quite easy to find a life calling. But then how do I have more of this in my life is much more difficult. How do I make a career of it is much more difficult. And also what stops me from living, for many, many people, what stops me from living this life calling fully? You know, to really shining my light in the world. And so that's why the first part of the work is, well, what's the life calling? And then the week after next, what are our strengths? I'm going to change the title of that to what are our superpowers, you know, and then what are our psychological resources? So all of that, we'll put all of that together. But then there's what are the bits of us that stop us living this fully? And that's what healing emotional wounds is about. All of that healing work is about what stops us from living it fully. You know, and there's that beautiful, I might even find it, Marianne Williamson quote. I've got it somewhere here. You know, it's like, you know, why aren't you shining your light fully? We're born to shine our light. You know, in the 3 marriages, to shine my life calling in my relationship with myself, to really have this for myself, to shine it in my social circle and personal community, and to shine it through giving my gift to the world, whether it's through my career or whether it's post-career through voluntary activity or service to the community or whatever it happens to be. And so that's the other side of it, you know. And then we sort of deal with any gremlins we have that stop us from being fully self-expressed, because the ideal is to just really be able to stand up and say, here I am, this is my life calling. Anyone else, questions or comments or doubts, or you needed me to help you a little with your version of what you've written down? Celia, I wonder what your version is. Do you feel like sharing it?
Yeah. I've changed it a bit since I've been listening to everybody here, which has really been very helpful. My life calling is to love and accept myself, to live well, and to love and enjoy life with myself and others. So that's what I've changed it to today.
Great. And sometimes it's good to get a long statement like you have, and then over time you'll suddenly find that there's a bit of it that includes everything else in it. So you may find that. What was the first bit? Read me the first line.
Okay. My life calling is to love and accept myself.
Great. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And I can just, I mean, I'm just, you know, I'm not saying this, but I can imagine that your life calling might be to love and accept yourself and help others do the same, something like that. Might be some of that.
Yeah, yes.
Be a version of it.
Yes,
sometimes,
actually that does feel better.
Does feel better, yeah. Sometimes when we get a paragraph, the other things are really sub-items of the first one, you know. So, it's always good to have one short enough.
Sorry, I was just going to say.
Go on.
I just wanted to say, I was really glad I said my life calling is to love and accept myself, because I think actually it's really something I struggle with. But I also think the bit that you added in there is really important to me as well, because of the wounds that I carry. And I think the two things are kind of joined in, they're almost bolted on.
What, helping others? Doing it for yourself?
Yeah, but helping others, yeah.
Well, so that, you see, they're your own, that's why so passionate, that's why you've been so passionate about your social work all your life, because because of your own wounds. It's like, it's why I'm so passionate about my work. It's because of my own wounds. It's sort of, they're really intimately connected. And all, you know, the humility and also compassion and empathy that I have has come through my own wounding and my own journey and my own process. Otherwise, I'd just be saying to people, you know, oh, you need more self-esteem, you know, like a psychologist or something, you know. No, I don't want to be rude about psychologists, but when you're really, when that's where you've come from, when you're sharing your own journey, then that is incredibly powerful and touching. And yeah, I'm so glad to hear you talking about this, Celia. Who else wants to share theirs? Any other questions or doubts or questions? Paul.
My first sheet was that my life calling was contributing to general well-being and to the common good. Now that embraces politics, personal relationships, personal being, and that's the distillation of what I take to be my altruistic, extroverted personality. Now,
hang on, just give us this. Don't give us the speech. Give us the statement. Just the statement.
Contributing to the general well-being in community and to the common good.
Full stop. Full stop.
Yes.
Okay, full stop. Great. How does that feel?
It feels earthed. It feels authentic for me, as summing up where my energies and vision draw me, attract me.
Great. Okay, let's do a short meditation. Let's do a short meditation, just to really ground this in ourselves. So, yeah, I can see when you finished moving or finished writing, just let yourself settle down. Great. So, lots of thoughts have been buzzing around. So let's just start with what we hear. So notice 4 things that you hear. Notice, as many of you know, I like to listen for sounds outside the house. Listen, is there any sounds in the house? Listen for sounds in the room. Listen for sounds in my body. My breathing, for example. listen for sound, listen to my internal dialogue. I'm talking to myself. And then noticing my body, noticing a place on my skin, noticing a big muscle. Noticing any emotional feeling I have. Noticing something else in my body. And many of you have your eyes shut, so you can see the darkness of your eyelids. Perhaps you can see specks of light on your eyelids. And you can see things in your mind's eye. And then paying attention to what you can hear again. Do you have an inner voice going on? Just what is she saying or he saying? Listen from a distance. You don't have to believe it, it's just a voice. You're much, much more than this voice. And noticing your feelings, again, skin and muscle, emotion. What's the best short version of your life calling? Summary. You don't have to say it perfectly, but just if you've got a few words that describe it imperfectly, how does it feel when you say that? How do you feel it in your body? How does it sound to you? If you imagine yourself living this life calling more and more fully, what do you look like if your ideal self is living this more fully? What do you look like? And can you imagine, if you imagine practicing this for the rest of your life, living this more fully for yourself, and as you become more expert at it, allowing this to be your gift to other people. How does it feel? Imagining, focusing your life on this into the future. You just imagine becoming the best version of this during the days, weeks, months, and years that come. Just really enjoying this for yourself. And of course, there's some practical things. Maybe there are things you need to do to live this more fully. Maybe you can include this in your existing career. Maybe you need a new career. Some of you may want to take training to improve your skills in fulfilling this life calling, to retrain in some way. Others may just need to just practice what you already know. And when you're ready, just reorientate to the room and the screen, and everybody's here. Yeah, and just keep deeply connected, reorientate to the room. And I'm just going to have you go into groups in pairs, and you're going to get 3 minutes per person. So it's a very short little exercise. Are there any actions or next steps that you need to take to fulfill your life calling? Are there any actions or next steps you need to fulfill to take to fulfill your life calling? Great to have you all back. Just in closing, let's hear a word from each person on how you're feeling right now. And let's start with Barbara.
Okay, the unusual opens into the divine.
And pass it on to someone.
Georgianne.
I'm feeling sort of uncertain.
Pass it on to someone.
Katie.
You're on mute, Katie.
I missed the first bit of what we're trying to do.
How are you feeling right now?
I am good.
Any
and
more
released.
words? Any more words than
Well,
good?
relieved that I can nurture myself and look after myself as opposed to caring for the blooming world, which is what I seemed to do before.
Right. Pass it on to someone. That's beautiful.
Passing on to Celia.
Right, I feel uplifted, and I feel a lot happier than before and energized, actually.
Right.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Who are you
And I'll
passing
pass
it
it
to?
on. Maria. Is it Maria?
Marija, yeah.
Marija.
I feel happy and full of energy. It was excellent. Thank you.
Great. Pass it on to someone, Marija.
Beg your pardon?
Pass it to someone.
Oh, Marina.
Who?
Is Marina here?
No.
Then who can call it?
Okay, pass it to Maggie. Let's pass it to Maggie.
Celia, Maggie.
Yeah.
I feel enthused and a certain lightness.
Okay.
And I'll pass it to Paul.
Oh, your sound isn't working. Okay. You put something in chat.
Yeah,
Wonder
to
why
be
your sound
affirmed
isn't
and
working.
affirming.
He said affirmed and affirming. So let's pass it to Wendy.
Thank you, Julian. I feel energized and I feel lit up and I feel that there's purpose and direction. It's almost as though I was in a room with loads of different doors and I couldn't make my mind up which way I was going to go, but my heart is directing now, and it feels that there's the right movement occurring internally, which is great.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's so nice. So in 2 weeks' time, we're going to do something on strength or superpowers. I'm going to change it to superpowers. And so your life calling plus your strength or your superpowers plus your unique, your own individual life history means that you're the only one in the world with your particular combination. So you deliver your life calling into the world through your strength, through your superpowers. And that makes us all completely unique. So the great thing is that there's only one person in the whole world who's here to do what you can do. And so that's super exciting to find that and then do that. So I hope to see you in a couple of weeks' time. Lots of love to you all. Take care.
Thanks, Julian.
Thanks
Thank you for your
much.
time.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Right. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Night night. Have a
Bye-bye.
great evening.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.